Hi everyone, welcome back to Taranormal. My name is Tara. Today I have a guest with me. Melinda is here and I'm really excited.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So, and Melinda, I probably talked about her in the past, but not really mentioning names.
Thank you.
Because I love, she has just such a great spirit about her. Oh. And she has, these certain abilities where she can... I don't know if we want to jump right into it, if you're okay with that.
Sure, absolutely.
So, basically, she has certain abilities where she can see things or she knows when things are
going to
happening or going to happen.
And I can be pretty precise on exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it kind of freaks people out a little bit that know me.
Yeah.
That know that I can do this. Because there's not a lot of people that even have a clue that I can do this.
Yeah. So, I can bleep your name out if you'd like.
Well, you can keep the Melinda part. Just let's not say the last name.
Yeah.
So let's
that would definitely give it away.
Yeah, it probably would.
So,
okay.
But I can't even remember when I first learned about all this stuff. I think it was revolving because we worked together.
Yes.
And our office is very...
Haunted.
Yeah, for lack of a better word.
Uh-huh.
And there's just a lot of weird stuff going on. So I think
it was
a couple of us... Yeah, I think a few of us were talking about it. And you were like, oh, I know.
Yes.
I know. And then we were like, I think finally broke you down.
You were like, fine.
You're like, yeah, sorry. That's...
Exactly. No, literally when you walk in, and it was really cool because I knew I could just let my guard down with you guys because you felt it. Mm-hmm. So, and there's actually a lot more sensitive people out there that can feel things and know things, but that don't really realize that they have this.
Yeah.
And so they're more sensitive to going into a place going, okay, I kind of have the creeps about this place.
Yeah.
Regardless of where it is. They have, it's like a sixth sense. And if you go into, let's say you go into someone's house, it's like, oh, I'm not feeling really cozy about this place. Or you meet someone going, not fuzzy feelings here, something's wrong.
Yeah.
It's literally an ability that everyone has. Mine have just been amped, let's just say.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah,
okay.
I like that explains it actually.
It does, right?
Because I feel like there are certain things like you were describing,
mm-hmm.
like you just walk into a place and you're like, the energy's up. Like I always call it energy. Like I always attribute it to
100%
people's energy or the space's energy.
Yes.
And the way that shifts from one thing to another.
Uh-huh.
You can just go into a place and tell if there's something wrong.
Negative, yeah.
Or, or if it's all good. It's just when I hold a crystal or something, you can kind of feel the energy from a crystal.
100%.
Or, and that sounds kind of weird to some people, but I feel like everybody has that, if you just trust and tap into that kind of thing, you can feel it. But I don't think I've ever felt anything to the extent of your abilities.
You don't think so?
I know, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just not I don't trust it enough.
I think that's literally your thing, because I do think that you could. I think that's you don't trust yourself. Is a perfect way of saying it. I didn't for a long time, but things would happen and I couldn't deny them. So I obviously have learned to do reading of the cards, and I was doing full on cards, and there was just a lot of stuff coming at me to the point where I decided to turn it around, and now I will only do angel cards because I like the positive energy versus negative. And there's some things that will come out that will have a little bit of, hey, just look out for this because this is going to be a bump in the road. But I'm not going to say, okay, so you're going to die in a week. Yeah. It's not going to happen. I will love to work on positive energy, abilities, if you will. And even knowing when someone's going to die, I, for instance, knew my mom was going to die before my dad. Mm. And I had that conversation with my mom, and she was so funny because my dad was very ill and said, no, your dad's going to die before me. And I said, okay. And ironically, my mom died, and 50 days later, my dad died. But because that's what happens. Yeah. And things that preceded in the death that I knew were going to happen, and things that happened when, I'll give you a for instance, if you'd like.
Yeah.
So there was, my husband his sister was going to be getting married. And the relationship with my husband and me and his side of the family were thus that I saw a very serious situation, and I was very precise in what was going to happen. And I don't know if you want details, but I can just tell you that I was very specific with him that you are going to be told to do this, this, and this. And if you do, that's going to put me in a back corner. And he's literally said, that's never going to happen. I will always be right here. And as God is my witness, so to speak, that did happen. And I just sat there going, ugh. And then my husband realized, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I did that. Those weren't quite the words he used, but
right.
Yeah. So
I can imagine what
it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But we got over it, got past it. But I think he really did not see that coming.
Yeah.
I did.
Do you ever wish that you didn't have these ideas that things were going to be coming?
Sometimes. Because sometimes I know they're going to happen. Like, for instance, when my nephew died. I knew he was dead. And it was weird because, so this is what's really weird. A lot of things do come to me in dreams as well. Mm-hmm. I'll see the person and it'll be good, but I also know that that's going to be the last time I see that person, even if it's in a dream, because that person will pass.
Oh, wow.
And he had actually called me. We had talked, and because there's a rift between his mother and me, I shared it with no one. It was just between him and I. I mean, my husband knew about it. My daughter knew about it. And then all of a sudden there was a phone call. I didn't get it. My daughter had gotten the call at my house. I was visiting a neighbor, and I looked at my friend, my neighbor, and said, so-and-so's dead. And she said, why would you say that? And I go, I don't know. I just feel it. And that was the case. He had passed. And it just, right now, I am feeling chills. I know he's here right now.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's because he's in my head right now.
Uh-huh.
But I can feel when that happens. When for instance, I can tell when there's someone here. So not to freak you out, but you have someone with you right now. You'll probably get a cold chill or hair will stand on ends, because that does really happen. It's just their energy being with you, and they'll touch you. So, your uncle's with you right now.
Oh, wow.
So say, hey. They're joining us in the podcast.
Thank you for coming.
Sorry, that one was unexpected and...
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, I know, and it happens a lot. So, working where we work,
a
lot of people come in, and I can feel people with them. They bring in people, if you will. I mean, that have passed, especially when it's kind of new. Because the person, and I don't know, I'm sure you've heard this before, but if a person dies rather rapidly, quickly, for some reason, and it was unexpected, sometimes they don't know where to go, what to do. And they linger because they weren't quite done with what their life goal was. And so they need prayers to help them through, to get past it, to go over to the other side, if you will. And it takes a minute before they can figure out what just happened. I mean, I know everyone pretty much has seen the show Ghost with Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. I mean, something's unfinished.
Yeah. And I hear that a lot, like unfinished business or whatever. And I don't exactly know what that means, but I can kind of understand, that they would cling to whoever's they're comfortable with.
Yes.
You know?
It's okay, I'm going to stand by here because I didn't get to do this, and somehow I have to get that to you, that information. How do I do it? And I think for them it's harder because they lose verbal skills, obviously. They're not going to have verbal skills. And so they're going to try somehow to get in contact with you, whether it be through electronics, lights going on and off, cold chills coming at you, or even in your dreams. You're going to dream of that person, and it's going to be more intense because that person's right there. And those are true validations that that person happens to be with you, and you're not imagining it. They are really there.
Interesting. So when my mom's brother died, she had a dream about him, and he said that he was going to be around for a while, that he had some unfinished business that he had to do.
Okay.
And so she was like, I just know he has things that he has to do. Like, she woke up, there was no doubt that that was a real thing.
Yes.
And years later, I had a dream. I was like, long hallway, or the space didn't really make sense, but he was there.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden he started to disappear. And I was like, where are you going? He's like, I have to go now. I'm done.
It's
so like,
business.
Yeah, that gave me like chills just thinking about it. But so it's like interesting that you like said, is that like a real,
that is real thing? That is real. So whatever he set out to do, somehow, some way, his finished business got taken care of. One way or another, it got taken care of. So at that point, he was able to release and let go. I don't know if you've dreamed of him since. That's because he was able to go.
Okay.
And he's happy. He's in a good place. And he'll see you when he sees you.
Yeah.
So to speak. Do you know what I mean? So when you get there, you know that he's not hurting. He's not in any pain. He's just good.
Good,
just really good. So hopefully that gives your mom some help too.
And I did tell her later, and she was like, she reminded me of her dream that she had, and so she's like, I think that was almost a relief for her.
For sure.
In a way. I don't know for sure if that was, but that's kind of weird that you had like a dream like that, because it was like the bookends of
course
of that like spiritual journey or something. I don't know.
That is exactly right.
It was kind of weird that we both had separate dreams years apart of him.
But see, you were then grown.
Yeah.
And he could give you that message to relate to your mom.
Like that was probably like 15, almost 20 years later.
Isn't that crazy?
After he had passed.
So it probably took him that amount of time to fulfill that, whatever he needed to do to get it done. Again, whether he watched it being done the way he needed it to be done, or whether it was a dynamic in your family that had to be corrected and got corrected. And so he knew, okay, I'm good. I can go now, and I know all is well.
Interesting.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with the latter. I don't know if that's accurate.
I would hope so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, that's I should turn that off.
You're fine.
But honestly, it's positive energy is really good.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that you ever take away from someone who's passing, just know that they will always be at peace, but they will always be with you. Whether it be in your heart, in your head, they'll come at you. Like recently, my mom's birthday's coming up. And I think about her all the time. And for the longest time now, I've been dreaming of her regularly. But it's very real. So I know that there's a message for me. I know there's something that she's trying to say to me. I just need to get it together and figure it out. Because sometimes I just like thinking, if I don't figure it out, she'll keep coming because I miss her so much. And I know what the message is. I just don't want to just say, okay, I get it. Don't go yet, though. I'm not ready for her to go.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
My son was in Iraq after my mom had passed. Literally had to leave right after we buried her. And my dad, literally, like I said, 50 days later, he had passed, but my son was already in Kuwait getting ready to go to Iraq. And so he couldn't come home. But I do remember that he was in a firefight. And it was not a good one. There were, his squadron was out there and he was the gunner, and an RPG hit their Humvee and it bounced off. So it did not explode. What's ironic is that whole day, I could not stop thinking about Nick, and I had told my husband, something's wrong, I know something's going to happen. And he kept looking at me, go, everything's fine. I go, no, it's not. Today's a bad day. My son was like a world away, if you will. And to know that he had that firefight on that day, and I literally had come home from work, and I went and sent a package, a care package, like I do every other day. And then I got home and I got on Skype. I don't even know why. I just felt that urge thinking he's going to be on. And he was. And I said, why are you on? You should be sleeping. And all he did was ask for his dad. And I said, he's at work. What happened? I know something has just happened. And which freaks him out completely when I do this, by the way. And so he had just proceeded to tell me what had happened, and I was just in tears. He goes, Mom, I'm okay. I'm alive. We're all okay. But the second one, the RPG that hit, had, again, that flew over them a little bit further, so it didn't hurt anyone, but it did blow up. But he was able to take out who was, the enemy, and nobody in his squadron got hurt. Wow. They leveled the place, and he came home alive. He saw a lot of death. He also has the ability to see things and knows things. It freaks him out a little bit. But when he was a kid, it was even more prevalent. You know what I mean? I mean, you start shutting things down. But it's weird because I've always had this. And I always know whether it's good or bad. Even when I come to work, I know if it's going to be a good day or if it's going to be a bad day. And it's hard. Because sometimes there's those days it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. What are we getting ourselves into?
Well, and then to come here knowing it full on, there's stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen it. I've seen it. Pretty much everyone in the office is in. There's some people that are in denial about it. So what do you think about it?
About, that in general?
Yes.
I totally believe in, like I said, I believe in these energies and spirits, and I don't know what it is. I believe that people do have abilities, and I believe that I think a lot of people have it, but they're just blocked.
They are, and that's so true. I think that all of us have it. I think there's more people that are more sensitive than others, and they can see it a little better. I mean, it's like paranormal, right? Except for I try to look at the positive of them, because I feel like a lot of our loved ones are with us all the time, trying to protect us in different ways and give us messages saying, don't do this or don't do that. I remember when I was a kid and I knew that I had this, but I never shared it with any family members. And I remember my grandmother, who literally lived in a different country, had died and came to me in a dream saying, don't go skiing. This is not a good day. You're going to have an accident. And I had told my mom, and she said, you should go. It's fine. Nothing's going to happen. And I'm like, okay.
Okay, I trust you.
I trust you. Don't want to believe this is even going to happen. Yeah. I came back and I had blown out my knee. So I had a horrible accident, and they were waiting to just kind of joke at me. And she said, I can't. I can't. She goes, you have this, but apparently my grandmother had it as well. So I don't know if it skips a generation or because I noticed my grandson has it a little bit more.
Okay.
And so I don't know. But ever since then, she would ask me questions, or I would just tell her things, or she would wait for me to tell her things. And I remember her always saying, you're my angel. You always come at the right time. How did you know to come? How did you know to do this, that, or the other? And I said, Mom, I just knew.
Wow.
And I will never forget those conversations. She goes, you always just know. How do you do that? And I said, I don't know.
And you do just know, because there'll be days where it's a bad place here, and you're like, I brought treats. And we're like, yay.
We're good. We need a little sugar today.
We're okay now. It's
Let's
okay.
sage ourselves.
Yeah.
We're good.
Exactly.
Let's get all that negative stuff out of here.
Exactly. So you do have like that uncanny
no.
ability to just know like when things are needed and what, you know, what's going to happen.
Even with her dying, it was so funny because I feel like she wanted me not to be around. I think she was really ready to go.
Okay.
I hold a lot of guilt on that because I thought maybe had I gone the day before, I was there on the Friday and she ended up dying on a Sunday night. But there was a lot of things that literally placed in my way. I could not get to her because of stuff that just kept popping up. Like my husband had been in a car accident and there was just one thing after another that kind of blocked me from going to her house. And I just, man, you have that guilt. Like if I had been there, I could have done A, B, or C, right? And I mean, I still feel that. It's like, and I know better. I know that she was ready and she would not have passed had I been there, but she was done.
I think a lot of family members do that.
Oh,
like,
I agree.
They wait till loved
Everybody's
ones
gone.
go. Because that's how my grandma, when she passed, she was in the hospital and she was not in good shape. And they were like, it's only a matter of time before she passes. And I wasn't at the hospital at the time, but my aunt, uncle, you know, a lot of people were there.
Yeah.
And as soon as they left the hospital, she was gone. So it's like,
yes,
I think a lot of people just wait till that moment because they just don't want
that to be that last thing.
Yeah, they don't want to be remembered that way or something like that.
My husband was very young when his dad passed, but his mom, and this was way back in, I think, the 60s. Yeah, it was definitely the 60s because kids weren't allowed in hospitals. So his mom had gone to the hospital because his dad had had a heart attack, you know, after having suffered a stroke, and went over there and he was doing well. She came home and said, he's going to be great. He's doing so good today. Within 2 minutes of saying that, the phone rang, letting her know that he had just passed.
Oh, wow.
So, which was a total shock to them because she thought he was doing great. And I don't know if you've ever heard this, but they say, you know, a person goes really, really bad, and then all of a sudden they have that peak where they're doing really good, and you think, oh, they're going to come out of it. And then they just die.
I have heard that before.
And it's true. They want you to remember them at that good point.
At that good point.
And then they hurry, and it's like, okay, it's time to kind of exit, if you will. And that happens more than you'll ever know. Wow. Because they really and truly do not want to have anyone think of them as like being sickly and being horrible. So, so if you ever hear of that, that's the reason why.
That's insane.
I know.
But it makes perfect sense.
It does, doesn't it?
I mean, when you really think about all this stuff and we're all just energies and we're all just, you know, I don't know. It just it's kind of a nice feeling like that you're almost in control of certain things like that.
Yes.
I don't know. That's kind of a nice feeling to me.
A way feeling they look so good, right? Yeah. And you remember that he did so good that minute. That minute I saw him, that last minute I saw him, he looked amazing, or she looked fantastic, and that's how you try to remember them in your head, and that's what they want. Yeah. They don't want you to remember them going, oh, they look so bad. Yeah. You know, or, oh, needed to die. Right. Didn't look good. Right. Right? Yeah. They want you to, but that's, in your head, that's what you'll remember is the last time you saw them and how they were, and that brings kind of comfort to you, knowing, I remember them looking really good. Yeah. And feeling really good for that.
It's just like an easier way to cope.
It is. Yeah. It's a way of, literally mourning a little, not having it be so horrible. Wow. So, I'm pretty...
That's amazing.
I know. I don't know if we've not even discussed that before. So...
But that's amazing.
There's something new to you. Yeah. We have another show on that one, right?
I know. I have so many things that have come of other shows.
That they've all of a sudden just like,
oh, I need to do this one.
Yeah, but this is pretty good. But yeah, I've actually, it's been fun having this energy, this gift, and I do call it a gift because I think it's really good that I can do that, and I do love doing angel cards.
Yeah.
And being able to feel certain people and see certain things. Like my husband happened to have his cousin here from another country, and his father had passed, and my husband was very close with his father, and together it was really weird. I went down there to ask him a question, and I'm looking at them and I'm seeing, and it was so crazy because I literally saw him. And when his cousin left and we were able to take him home, I looked at my husband and I had told him who was there, and we just both started to cry because but it wasn't in a bad way. It was like he was here and enjoying the moment.
Yeah, he wanted to be with.
Yes, both of them.
People.
And then it was like, hey, remember when we did this together? Yeah. It was like he was there in the moment and having fun with them at that time.
That's really
and laughing. Cool. So it was so cool. And I did some angel cards with his wife, and I was reading them because I didn't know what was happening. And she was like, how do you know this? How is that possible that you know this? And I said, it's not necessarily me, it's your cards. And I read them, and it's what comes up because of your energy going into the cards.
Wow.
And they have suffered so many traumatic things, and a lot of it had a light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. So, and she needed to hear it because it's a lot, you know. So we shall see. Yeah. You know, what'll come up with that. I mean, I'll kind of keep an eye out and watch as it happens, but I've been pretty dang good about it, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You're pretty good.
Yeah. I love when you read my cards, honestly.
Aww. That's good.
You've done it for me quite a few times now. But it's almost like a therapy.
Yeah.
Like,
it is very
and you
therapeutic.
only do the angel cards, so it's very like positive and it's only the good things.
Yep.
So, and I don't think I could handle bad, honestly.
No. I don't know why anyone wants to know that.
I don't know why people would want to know, like,
I don't know.
the horrible things that were going to happen. But it's almost like a therapy thing. It gives you, it's always like things that I'm already thinking about.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, maybe that was like, that was for a reason, you know? So it is a validation.
You're really easy to read, though.
Am I?
Yeah, you really are. We have a couple people here that are really easy to read that I pick up really fast. Some are more closed off, but others, it's pretty easy. You know?
Off air, I'd like to hear who those... No, I'm just kidding.
I'll tell you. You know
those
a couple of them, but yeah, it's pretty
I'm
interesting.
sure I could guess, but...
You probably could. And there's some people that come in the office that I'm just like, oh my, yeah. I wish I could do that. I wish I could give that person a reading. Yeah. Like I actually ran into someone who I just felt this really strong urge to do them. I was being pulled towards her, and I literally told her, and I don't do this, as you know. I asked her if I could please do them, and I would call her and let her know. And I said, in fact, I'll give you my phone number so you know this isn't a weird thing. And so she ended up calling me, and I had done her whole thing, and she just started to cry, and she asked me, how is it possible that you know this? And like I said, things just come up. They're in my head, and I can feel them in my heart. And then when I do them, it's like, wow. And she was blown away because everything was so accurate. So I kind of gave her a little bit of advice on how to wing it. But there were people trying to come at her. She had just lost her husband.
Oh, wow.
And he had come through, and people fighting over the trust. I didn't know that she had lost anyone, except for I could just feel that energy because someone was around her. I didn't realize it was her husband until a little bit after, and then it was like, that's her husband, I can feel. And there was a lot of people trying to take control over her. And I will never forget that one because it was so crazy, because it was a lot of some stuff that I had actually gone through, and so it just set really hard in my heart. Do you know what I mean? And to give her some advice to be strong and not to allow anyone to take her strength away. and her way of doing things. That's her life. And I hate it when people swoop in after someone passes and tries to take over.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. So that's the reason people do trusts and wills and whatever and try to make them irrevocable, because if they're not, someone will mess with them and try to take over. And that's why people who pass can't pass in peace, because things are being disrupted. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it brings their energy back. They can't pass until it's like fixed.
Okay.
If you know what I mean. Okay.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's just kind of I don't know if I've never even talked to you about that. So, yeah, there you go.
No, I'm getting all sorts of little nuggets. I love it.
Just sharing.
I love it.
Just sharing.
But yeah, I think the idea of like having these abilities, like it almost makes, I think the reason I love like paranormal stuff and like the thought of like spirits and ghosts and like seeing things.
Yeah.
It almost makes an afterlife not seem so scary.
Absolutely.
That's kind of what I take from all of it. Like, we're all kind of going towards the same place.
Yeah.
And I feel like when there is like sightings of like ghosts or you see people, spirits connected to you, like you saying that you see family members around me or something.
Yeah.
That's almost like a comfort to like when this all does come to an end, that we don't just disappear and we're gone forever. No. Like our spirit, our energy
still lives
on, to somewhere, to something, but it still goes on. And so I think that's kind of a comforting
And the best part is they're not in pain anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their heart is at peace. And so is their body.
Yeah.
If you will, because their body, they're no longer in it.
Yeah.
And so they're not feeling.
So they're okay.
Yeah. So they are so much, they're actually better than we are.
Yeah.
I
believe it.
And it's like, okay, I'm almost envious of that sometimes. Yeah. But they, and when you do have those dreams, they're real. And so obviously, because of you sharing, I do think your dreams are where you're getting your messages, and they're true.
Okay.
So don't ever doubt and always go with your gut instinct. I mean, kind of like, if you're thinking, I shouldn't get in that elevator. I don't feel cozy, comfy with that dude getting in there right now. Go with that gut. Don't feel like that would look rude. Be rude.
Yeah.
Be safe. Just know that's not a good idea. Always go with your gut.
Yeah.
Because your sixth sense, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
And or someone from the other side guarding you, putting that in your head. This is not a good idea. Don't do that, because it's not going to turn out well. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's truly what I believe. I think we get a lot of our messages from our family.
Yeah.
Or whomever, angels, whatever it may be, telling us not good. Kind of putting us on guard and saying, okay, this one's good. That one not so much. Listen to it, because your sixth sense is all about what's around us, and they're protecting us. So, and I do believe in angels. I believe in guardian angels, and I believe in, your family members still being there to help you and protect you along the way. So, I don't know if that helps any of you out there, but it helps me get through the day.
I think it does. Because I've been doing a lot of like law of attraction, like universe kind of things, and like how to attract things to yourself. And I think that's a lot of it. Like when you sit down and you kind of sit with yourself for a second, you'll start to have like these thoughts running through your head. And part of me is like, is that someone else like telling me like, you should do this, you shouldn't do this, like these ideas of but
isn't that crazy?
I know,
but it's a good thing, because if you're feeling that, then you're obviously receiving it, and if you're receiving it, listen to it.
It's good to know.
So I don't know if that helps. And
I love it.
All
right, well, I think that kind of wraps it up. I think we've gotten everything out there, right?
I pretty well think so. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this. I've been wanting you on here for a very long time.
I know. I'm sorry. Timing.
I know.
Divine timing.
So, well, thank you, Melinda.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for listening. please follow me, Instagram, Facebook, Taranormal Podcast. Follow me on YouTube. I'm trying to do some stuff there. Yeah. And I'll see you next week. Bye.